But welcome to the first 2025 meeting of the Newbury Board of Boston Trail Committee. Thank you to 4 members who agreed to be on the committee. That's wonderful. I'm Kristen Grubbs, Planning Director, and maybe we can just go around the room, introduce ourselves.
Sure.
I'm Sadie. I'm the assistant planner. I'm pretty new, so still getting all the information on the Board of Boston Trail, but yeah.
I'm Sid Rashke. I've only lived in Newbury for 5 years, but I was on the coast. I still am on the Coastal Trails Coalition, and I've been a member there for almost 20 years.
Jim Dooling. I live at 51 Orchard Street, just across from Martin Burns. I've been in town for 25 years. And I'm also a member of the Open Space Committee for the past year.
Great.
John Regan. I'm on Central Street right over here. I'm on the Rec Committee, and I feel like I've been on every rail trail in New England, but I'm not a road biker or off-road biker, but we do rail trails, so I've got high expectations and high hopes.
David Broll, 3 River Street, Rec Committee, Chairman of the Rec Committee. Walk that trail all the time, so I have some familiarity with it.
Great.
And I'm Sean McElroy, also a member of the Open Space Committee. I've been participating in Coastal Trails Commission meetings for about the last year, trying to get some pointers on how to get these trails pushed through. This has been on the books for a while. I know we had a little bit of a slowdown because of COVID, but it looks like the time is right now to get this project moving along, and so I'm here to help with that.
Awesome. Do you mind just introducing yourself?
Sure, it's fine. I'm Sandra Clary. I'm a senior project manager with Bowman Consulting Group. We're proposing on the RFQ for the north side.
Yes. Great. Welcome. Yeah. So being the first, you all were officially appointed in June, and has everyone been able to sign in with the town clerk officially? Yes. Thank you. I should just mention I was offered a membership seat on the committee, but I've had a conversation with the town administrator that I think, in my opinion, it works better when staff can be support for the committee but aren't necessarily a voting member of committees. So right now I'm not sworn in. I won't be, if the committee has votes on things, I will be supporting the work and the information and sharing and bring information up to whether we're working with consultants or working with other boards. But I just wanted to kind of clarify that. And that's similar to how planning staff work with the planning board and the open space committee and many other committees. So I think we just want to introduce ourselves. I did want to sort of invite those of you, particularly Sid, who have been on the committee previously, just to share with the rest of us your, just a short summary of your experience being on this committee and being so intimately involved in the work. If you want to share a few things, thought we could do that first, and if anyone else has sort of general comments about the effort, then we should talk a little bit about officers. If anyone is interested in sort of raising their hand to serve as an official chair or co-chairs or a vice chair or a clerk, I would say those are the general committee officerships. I think sometimes there are other positions, but we're a pretty small group, so 2 or 3 officers I think would work well. So we can talk a little about that, and then if we if the board wants to actually take a vote, you would vote to approve that someone serve as chair, etc. And then project updates, we have essentially 2 segments in Newbury. I have nothing right now, but I thought we could pull up some maps and look at it together as we go along. I've brought the 25% design plans that we have for the Byfield to Georgetown southern segment, and then as we heard, there's a request for qualifications currently open, a bid request for a feasibility study on the northern segment. So we can sort of review those 2 project components, talk about next steps, and then talk about how often the committee wants to meet, set a meeting date at a time that if Tuesday afternoons works well, we can stick with that, but if it doesn't, we can, do what we want. I don't believe the committee has like any mission statement or like there has to be, there's no bylaw that says how many members. We could have other members if other members of the public are interested in becoming a member of the committee. And yeah, that's my thought about the meeting today. Sound good?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to share anything from your history on the committee?
I could certainly start. I really don't have a lot to share except some possible good news for this committee, which is the goals that the Coastal Trails Coalition had at the beginning. One of which I thought would never happen. It was a pie in the sky dream, which was the trail over the bridge, the Whittier Bridge that connects Newburyport and the Amesbury-Salisbury border. I thought, how can we ever get that to happen? But one thing we did was we held just an information session, and we invited all of the elected officials from the feds on down. And of course, nobody wants to be left out if you're an elected official, so we had a really good showing. And the nice part about that was they got to meet with each other and talk about it. So it was it went through very fast, and so we have this wonderful trail. Has everyone been over that trail? So it's quite extraordinary. But the good news is that most of the goals that can be the bigger goals that the Coastal Trails Coalition have historically have been met. So that gives the greater group more time to support this committee. That would be my guess. And it seems to me when I attend those meetings, and Sean, you've been here for years, so it seems to be that way, doing everything. And if I ever hear complaints about what's Newbury doing, I say, well, not much, because there's a train on the rail trail. So that kind of ends those complaints. But that's about all I have to say.
Yeah. Could you just briefly explain what Coastal Trails Coalition is?
Coastal Trails Coalition is the grassroots group that communities must have to get, particularly federal funds, and most state funding, because they require, I don't know if it's actually in the actual RFPs and things like that, but they require independent fundraising arm in the community, particularly grassroots support, because then they know they're not going to be burdened with a failing project. So it makes sense. So that's the function of the group. It's all volunteer. There are no staff members at all. And so I think it was in existence for a couple years before I joined it. I joined it at the celebration of the Clipper City Rail Trail, which is the first trail that they dedicated. And I've just seen the extension to Salisbury underneath the Route 1 bridge, and of course the beautiful Marsh Trail, and then the next piece, the old Eastern Marsh Trail to the state line. That's been pretty exciting. think that's about it. I'm happy to answer any questions if I've left some major things out.
Does it come to an end in Massachusetts, the Coastal Trails Committee? Is that?
Oh, yes, I knew I was forgetting something. So it's for the 4 communities, Salisbury, Amesbury, Newburyport, and Newbury. It's just those 4 committees. Although we consult and support, I know there's some effort to have a trail that's parallel to the Merrimack River, but inland, so it would go through Merrimack and communities all the way down to.
I think that's coming up from Lowell. I
Lowell.
think that's the plan.
Yes,
Lowell,
that's
Rickett,
the
yeah.
one, that's the one. So we've written letters, we write a lot of letters for support for these different.
Kristen, isn't Georgetown have they've had a rail trail committee?
They do have a municipal trail committee.
Yeah.
So probably a little bit parallel to this one. I don't think it's just Border Boston. I think it's a trails committee.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that should be some kind of outreach. I don't know about top scale either, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It kind of on topic with grassroots grants. One of the things that's concerned me is Middleton has a Friends of the Trail. And somehow I think we need to jump down that rabbit hole of, at least for maintenance. Because we get, I'm still, we just had something with the highway department with recreation, and they're reluctant to take on maintenance projects, and I'm like, oh boy, we might need to come up with some funding mechanism of our own for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've only got, at this point, it'd be like 1.5 miles, 1.25 miles on the Newbury side. But
I think their statement was that this is DPW, that at this point, they were short-staffed. So
Yeah.
maybe,
could be temporary.
yeah.
But it was enough to scare me.
Yeah,
that
yeah, same
we need to, and this piece I think is going to be easy. The next piece is going to be a lot of trees, and blowdowns and what have you.
Yeah. Does the Coastal Trails Coalition support maintenance in terms of financial support or volunteer?
That's town
Power?
That's
Or is
town by town. But
Yeah.
some of these things that you've mentioned would be easy enough to request the Coastal Trails Coalition to help fund something that's a little bit more than just the day-to-day maintenance. I know that Amesbury and Salisbury have a lot of volunteers that maintain their trails. And the town kicks in some for Amesbury, but less for Salisbury. We seem to have a lot of people with time on their hands that love the outdoors, and they are amazing. But there are certain things that I think this committee should not hesitate to request a grant from the Coastal Trails Coalition.
And I think the coalition has supported Newbury's efforts
Yes,
previously
I don't know the
financially.
sum total, but it's
Yeah.
been several instances.
Yeah. I think most recently the little spur, Parker Street that connected the Clipper City Trail, there was that
Right,
little
right.
segment
Yeah.
through Newbury.
Exactly. In
I'm
fact,
pretty sure that
even the
coalition-
city of Newburyport kicked in money for the Newbury section because they had the contractor to do theirs, and they very kindly donated their labor
Yeah,
on a small part of the Newbury Trail.
yeah. And assistance with grant writing, I think, as well.
Right.
There was a recreational trails grant.
And
for
we
some of that
do
work.
a lot of fundraising, which is the goal of all of the grassroots groups should be to do fundraising, because that gets the attention of maybe larger institutions that you might want to apply for.
Mhm.
Do they want to adopt us?
Well, they
That's
certainly.
check that off the list.
I mean,
yeah.
I thought God, didn't they contribute 10,000, 20,000 at one point?
I think I've seen that in the
Right,
newsletters.
right,
yeah.
so no, and like I said, almost all of the goals we had are completed.
Mm.
In fact, the only reason the trail ends in Seabrook is that the rail is sunken in the marshes. And it's a busy intersection. I think it's 286 possibly, one of those. And so that's been rare. So that's not unlike some of the challenges that this town has.
Well,
The
it's-
Ghost Trail just got new material. That's a stone dust trail,
Right,
and it just got a lot of material
right.
up at the Amesbury end of that.
Yeah, they have
It's
to
like,
do
wow,
that
someone's-
every
Someone spent
few
some money
years.
here, and again, I got scared. It was like, we're gonna be asphalt, which,
Is that predetermined asphalt? Is that?
I'm pretty sure it's asphalt in the 25%, right?
Yep, these plans show it as,
And I look at the
Paved.
Groveland one, I think is the model. I mean, that, the way they built that, it seems to me it's the same engineering group that, and I see that as what we're gonna see. If you wanna see what that
I
trail's
saw
gonna look
that
like, go
on
through
that
Groveland.
yeah.
We should take a bike ride.
Yeah,
That's a nice tree.
Hmm.
committee field trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's really helpful, and I'll certainly say, since I've been working for the town, absolutely members of the Coastal Trails Coalition are who I reached out to say, help me understand how this trail work can succeed. Like, what do I need to know? Who do I need to connect with? How do we get this going again? So it's a very well-run and successful nonprofit. I don't know, is it 20 years old or more? Is that what you were saying?
I think it's more than that.
Amazing, yeah. So I should have said, we have our camera going. We also should have written notes, minutes. I was gonna lean on Sadie to kind of cover this meeting, if that makes sense, going forward. If someone is interested in being clerk, you can take that role on. So speaking of officers, maybe if people have thoughts or interest in sharing, if you're interested in playing the role of an officer. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, and I know all of you, we've just heard you're all involved in other committees, so I think we're aware of that, and we're obviously a team here, but maybe we can just sort of put it on the table if anyone has thoughts.
I definitely would be interested in helping in some role. I'm probably a little newer to some of the details,
Municipal
the background. Yeah,
realm.
my background is 25 plus years in ed tech world, program management, strategy, complex projects. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but I'm in a point in my life, and being now in town for 25 years, where I certainly want to give back. The previous, when these meetings were happening prior to COVID, I wasn't sure who was involved in that or not. It sounds like some of you, know the broad network of trails well in the northern part of the county. So I guess I was foreseeing maybe if there's flexibility about meeting times or possibly doing them online, virtual on occasion, although I appreciate the in-person benefits. I think either like assisting the chair as a vice chair, maybe a clerk, if we have that flexibility. I could, or if
It's also 5 of us, so we could have 5 officers.
we could have 5 officers, we could
No one
do that.
escapes. No one escapes.
We could do that. So I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
from
My
a interest out
My
there.
experience with David is the chair needs to be like point of contact for the town hall. So I mean, that to me is, and I think we're fortunate because Kristen would buffer us, but I think you need that. And I do see this committee going to town meeting next spring with at least a report, maybe an ask. So I think there's an element there of leading up to and presenting at town meeting as burdens of the chair.
Yeah, I think that even at town meeting, everyone sort of gets involved.
Yeah, well, yeah, all
it's
right.
a-
But other than that, I think we've got a kind of not a singular task, it's a singular task with many pieces, but I think we're all just gonna have little jobs. In fact, I commented to Dave today, like, maybe we shouldn't have officers right away until we see what we need, you know, let's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that,
That's-
you know, just if we have to stay within the state's guideline, there should be someone that opens the meeting, closes the meeting, and
Yeah, yes, maybe we just have a chairman just for that. And the clerk thing would be posting.
yeah, post it.
That's probably the big posting minutes and getting the meetings posted.
That's right, the hardest
Sure.
thing.
That's probably the one that's the critical.
Record some more.
Yeah.
We've got someone here.
Well, yeah,
We've got
so
a
just
secret.
to sort of clarify what I see planning's role is absolutely like, we're in charge of reaching out to the chair saying, you know, two-way street, but
Mhm.
like the chair and staff come, you know, working on the agenda, making sure it gets posted within the 48 hours, helping
Yeah.
provide materials, helping keep the website updated. Like, I think I'm very happy to still have planning play an active role, more active in the same way we are with open space. We're not right now with rec committee. You guys are really kind of on your own in a
We're
lot of
machines.
ways.
We're not.
So,
Love
this is, you know, it would not, and I should also say, because the appointments are 1 year, this would be a sort of 1 year appointment. And if we wanna do this, just, you know, think about it a little more and, you know, take some votes at the next meeting.
Yeah, and
We can
co-chair's a good idea, because if someone can't make it, the other person
Right.
runs the meeting.
Totally.
Yeah, we've got a vice chair.
So,
Yeah.
I've been trying to give away my chairmanship now for it's a long time.
Somehow you skated right through the last meeting.
Well,
They
it's
won't
okay.
let me leave.
I was waiting to crawl under the table.
Yeah.
I think one thing I almost feel happy about coming out of this meeting is, Sid, would you mind being like our representative to Coastal Trails? Kind of an official, and maybe Sean too, like you guys would be our representatives to the
Liaison.
coastal or
Yeah.
liaison.
Sure.
I think that would be a nice, I don't know if we want to vote on it, but.
Sure, let's take a vote.
That's okay. You call the vote, Krista.
You just called it.
I did, okay. Someone
Propose.
second
I
that?
second.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All-
Are you comfortable with that, Sid and Sean?
Oh.
Certainly.
Yeah, we have a discussion about it, so I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I pretty much attend the meetings,
Yeah,
just about.
but I mean,
whenever
to
they
go to your
come.
next meeting and say, all right, we're on the Newbury Trail
Yeah.
Committee, and they just appointed us to be, and I think we get that set up, I think that's a good positive.
Yeah, I have a lot of great information that is gonna help us, I think.
Oh, no, it's if they've been in this business for 30 years, I mean, I've been rail trails for 30 years too, but when we used to have brownie sales, and, you know, that was,
Yeah,
those days are over.
Right.
so like Jim here, I'm learning as I'm going along here, and that's been a great
Contact,
resource.
and just like if you guys would be and you guys would be the adoption committee, we'll see if we get them to adopt us.
Okay,
So I think
Sounds
that, are we done with discussion on that?
Do we get
Yes.
to vote on that, or
Now
not?
it's-
Yeah, vote, all in favor?
Right?
Aye,
Aye.
okay.
done.
Okay,
Good.
we did something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so-
When is the 25% closed? Is that still open?
They have not told me it's closed. Yeah, for public comments?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I have not heard that public comments are
And that's
closed.
one thing that's been haunting me is when they did the walkthrough, one of the DOT guys asked about a call station, like a 911 call station.
Oh,
And at the time, I thought about it. I said, of all the rail trails I've ever been on, I've never seen a call station. And I kind of fluffed it off. And I was talking to Cindy yesterday in the Council on Aging, or Kathy, and Kathy said, what do you mean you didn't want a call station? I'm like, oh, well, maybe we had to get that in the 25%. I don't even know what police chief would think about it, but.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I,
And it doesn't necessarily senior related, but senior certainly puts a nice powder coat on it. Like if senior falls, then they don't have their phone or.
Right.
But,
Right. You come across somebody.
Well,
needs help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
and I have no idea what it does to the cost, but it was offered, what the state engineer said something about it, and it just, now I've said, now I can cleanse myself of that. But I thought that might be something they wanted to get in there.
so, do we want to talk about officers anymore right now? Or can we, because you just kind of jumped into project stuff, which is fine
No,
with me?
had we agreed to?
I think coming back next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
Unless there was.
we can come back with full resumes.
perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, I just want to point out that you seem to have done a great job of just picking up the role, and sort of, we've already gone through one vote, and it looks like we have stuff on the agenda already. So, I mean, can I?
It's no. I just did it for the rec committee, and I had no idea what I was doing, and then just doing it over and over again, I have somewhat of an idea. And it's funny because we have a diverse group in the rec committee. We have similar members, and sometimes with our group we have to corral people a little bit, and I've become fairly good at that. Sometimes I let it go on, but yeah, it's just for me. It was just been just a procedural thing.
Would you be interested in?
What's that?
Would you be interested in chairing this committee?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
the synergies between the two committees are pretty obvious.
Either that or John. I think John was.
Or John, did you want? I mean, is it too much?
I'll do
Let me
whatever.
ask
No,
you.
I don't think it's a lot at all.
don't want
If David doesn't want it, I'll take it, but I.
You want to do co-chair?
We could do that too.
Unless-
But you're not gonna do that to me on rec committee.
That we already discussed that. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's just for me the chairmanship. I get phone calls from town hall about questions, and sometimes I'm good with them, sometimes I'm not. But it's basically we open the meeting, vote on things, have discussions, and close the meeting.
Yeah.
And if things get off the rail, which they've had, it's just kind of like, well, we have a certain amount of time to go and stuff like that. So that is, and I'm probably a bad chairman just for that reason, but we've done okay so far. We got some things done.
Done a great job so far, for sure.
So you want to?
All right, Sean tried. I'll co-chair with you if you want.
If you guys are good with it.
Yeah.
So do you want to vote on that?
Yeah. Motion.
I don't know how. Yeah. Go ahead.
Vote to name
John and Dave.
John and David our
Yeah.
co-chairs. Is that?
Yep.
I'll second.
I second it.
Okay.
Discussion on that? Anyone? Is everyone good with that? Is that I don't want to step on anyone's toes here.
Great.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Got it.
So we got one more,
Vote.
we got one more vote. I think we need a vice chair.
So we'll have co-chair and two co-chairs and a vice chair.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know where you were.
So everybody
Sean,
gets
or-
a title. Everybody walks out with a title.
Right?
Right, we could. I express, I'm open to either vice chair or clerk.
Oh,
My only concern would be if we are, every single month we are at a fixed date, we can't work it out. I am gonna miss one out of
No, I don't
6 of
think
those, but I think we have the flexibility,
Yeah.
or
we
whatever,
usually-
so.
Yeah.
But wait, I guess, would you be comfortable being clerk and helping with minutes? And I think Sadie and I are absolutely
Sure.
in there if you're not at a meeting. meeting,
Okay,
but,
that sounds good.
and I would
There's
also
some-
say
Yep.
there's quite a bit of information about good meeting minutes, and it really is important to capture the votes.
Yep.
So there's not necessarily a need to have a long,
Right.
narrative story about everything that is discussed, but capturing the opening, closing, any votes that are taken, so.
You wanna do that?
I'm happy to do clerk if you guys want to do it.
Yeah.
or-
I'm Jim Dooling for clerk.
I second, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Done?
I-
So we have a clerk, co-chairs, do you wanna do vice chair? I don't.
That's, I
Co-chair
mean, I
gets
think
invited.
It's good.
2 reps to the Coastal Trails Coalition, co-chairs and clerk.
Yeah, I think we're pretty,
We're good.
yeah,
Yes,
we're
I
good,
think
we got a
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
yep.
All right, and these are 1-year appointments
Through
for
January.
fiscal year
Yep.
26.
Yep.
Great,
Sounds good.
all right, thank you, everybody. Okay,
Do we talk pay yet or not? Is that been discussed?
The salary,
Yeah.
we didn't
You guys
discuss.
get a little extra stipend.
Someone shows up with a new bike,
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a little
sponsorship.
crap,
So, just something I saw recently, they, for some reason, started chopping some of the growth down from River Street heading to Georgetown. And it was sort of sporadic at the very beginning of the trail. I didn't check the other side, heading towards that doesn't have a bridge, but heading from River Street towards Georgetown. They cut like an 8-foot swath and then they sort of stopped. And so I don't know what that, has anyone heard about that? Is that National Grid? Is this part of this whole thing, or is this just normal National Grid maintenance? Does anyone have a clue on that?
I do not.
Okay. I know that typically on that route, it's like every maybe 7-8 years, they just go through and flatten everything out and then it just grows out. 'Cause it grows
So
pretty
which
quickly.
was the chunk, you noticed that recently?
What's that?
Which section?
So right now, right at River Street,
Yeah.
right at River Street, the very beginning of the trail,
Oh.
heading towards Georgetown, they started cutting that, and it was done professionally. And whether they, I haven't been back, I saw it Sunday, I ran on it Sunday. And I
I
think,
saw National Grid out on the other portion of the
Right.
trail heading out towards Newburyport.
okay,
So they may just be doing maintenance.
yeah,
In Martin Burns, is that what you're talking about?
No,
'cause-
going from Church Street out towards 95.
Towards-
Okay, all right, because they were in Martin Burns,
Oh,
on the
that's-
east side of 95 a year or
Okay.
2 ago.
Yeah.
Doing exactly
Yeah.
that. So it sounds like it's similar.
they had a major job, they were doing a major work right as COVID hit, and then they stopped everything. So I don't know, it may just be their cleaning process that they have to do every period of time, but.
So,
Yeah.
but that doesn't bring up a good question. I mean, how do we find out from them what they're going to be doing and when and that kind of thing? How does that all work? Anyone?
Do we have a point person?
I mean, I don't think they are, they either own that land or have an easement on it, so I don't think there's any requirement that they inform the town, because it's not town-owned land.
Okay.
But they may inform this town administrator's office or DPW in some way, and I wouldn't necessarily hear about it.
No, I think it's sporadic, because it's just kind of strange how there's one section that's very well cleaned out, and then it's like maybe someone took a break and they started either further down, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be they would basically clear cut from where the trail starts out at River Street. There's the river, and then there's like a secondary wetland area that's river, and they used to just like clear both sides so that you could see everything. I mean, just clear everything out, and then it grows back in like 2-3 years. But this is sort of I didn't know. There's like a whole series of things they do, and one other thing they do, which is always, and I think that you're aware of it, is that they do surveys, and so they'll hang it's weird because there'll be spikes in the ground or there'll be things tied in the trees and then nothing happens. I'm like, is something gonna happen here? And then nothing happens, and I think they have to do it every period of time just to keep funding, maybe?
Well, so, I mean, this work has been happening for 6 years.
Okay.
So the segment Byfield to Georgetown, let's just focus on that for a minute. There's a contract between Mass DOT to have that be a project, right? There's a project number, and that's what the public hearing was about in May. But that work leading up to the 25% design plans has been underway for probably 10 years, because these plans were first completed in 2020. And we
makes
just
sense.
had that public hearing, but Stantec is the contracted engineering firm for that segment, and it's a Mass DOT, Georgetown, and Newbury agreement. There's a MOU or MOA, and the funding is from the state for that work, but the accounting and the bill paying for Stantec goes through Georgetown. So Newbury actually isn't, our accounting department isn't involved in that specifically. But that segment comes all the way to Byfield Center.
Does Stantec ever send you updates?
There are not regular, so I should say, that was the work that was paused until last fall.
Right.
And when things got rolling again, due to a lot of us saying,
What's going on?
What's going
Yeah.
things got going again. So since that time, there have been regular, meetings, not every month or, on a regular basis, but I have their contact information. They answer my emails. I've had phone calls with them. So there's certainly open communication. I would say it did take a lot of proactive digging just to get the information, and part of that was the pandemic, and part of that was project managers switching and staff switching here and staff switching at Georgetown, and there's just been a lot of, but I would say it has been revealed through my learning about this project that it's hard to have a central project management place for a project that has many partners and different towns, and it's a challenge. I do think it's in a good place now, but I would say if you saw like flagging or like marks on rocks starting last fall, that was the things getting going again. Mass DOT hired a survey firm to do the wetlands, update the wetlands delineation. That information was provided to Stantec. Stantec's been, updating these 25% design plans. Now they're moving forward.
Yeah, this goes on.
To 75%.
It seems like for 10 or 15 years now.
Yeah.
They're done and they start to get faded, and then all of a sudden you see more and like, oh, something happening. Because, as far as someone that just uses it on an average basis, like, is something going to happen? Something going to happen? And then it just kind of fades away, and then new flags and new stuff.
Yeah.
And the last time it was a little bit more consistent because they were actually putting spikes or little like in the ground instead of on trees, where
Right.
they would just tie on trees that they ended up cutting down later on. But yeah, it's kind of, so that does make sense.
So,
Yeah, and National Grid is obviously, as we know, they have the ability to go in there,
Yeah,
clear the path for their access.
so the thing I have in my head, Kristen, is like before meeting, could someone reach out to Stantec and to, is that Marlin?
Mm-hmm.
And it was Joe was the DOT guy, was he the,
Joe Yu is
Joe Yu?
the project manager for that.
So,
segment.
like,
Yep.
And just like give me a 2-sentence update, and then I think that gets us into that loop, so
Yep.
whether we need
for monthly
where
meetings, yeah.
either we'll assign the newly assigned clerk who has nothing to do.
To go out there.
Who just has all this copious time on his hand, or one of us just like be responsible 2 weeks before, send out an email to Stantec and Mass DOT and say what's going on.
Yeah,
Because I think the thing that I think about is just the timeline, like we've got the timeline where they're gonna build, but as a committee member, I think we'd let the community down if we forgot something, he was talking about, small land takings and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's just so far above my pay grade. And Marlon was like, I don't know, we got it, but you have to do it, and it's like, okay, you're gonna tell us when, and, which is, again, that's my kind of vision of next spring town meeting. We might have to ask for money to cut some of those corners that, it gets a little hairy in Central Street.
yeah.
In Main Street, there's a crosswalk there that just crosses across someone's driveway, for example.
Yeah. So, some of you submitted private comments, right?
Yep.
Really, and attended the public hearing. I certainly think now that we have a formed committee, if there was, I will find out whether the public hearing is still open. Figure that out. If it is, and they're still accepting comments, it certainly would not be inappropriate for this committee to have written comments submitted. I would say, back to praising Coastal Trails Coalition, but I met several times this winter and spring with Rick Tainter, and he did work with the coalition to submit comments directly to Mass DOT, some of which were things.
I have a copy of that here.
That's awesome. Yeah, we can share
Should I pass
that
that down?
around. And some of the comments on there were certainly things he and I agreed
Right.
that the town would like.
Right.
We're in agreement, and he pointed some things out and brought some stuff, and I had some questions, and we did sort of work on what the questions were together, but the coalition took the lead to submit those, which is amazing, because at the time, there wasn't really a vehicle for the town I didn't know how to get the town to submit comments, because we didn't really have this group formed yet, and the select board is interested, but not fully involved in a detailed way yet. So it was super helpful. And their response was also really quite supportive
It seemed to be.
and
It seemed to
positive.
be.
Yeah.
From saying, that's a good idea, not in that many words, but to
Yeah.
certainly agree with the rationale.
Right.
That type of thing. Well, I mean, I think there's no problem with letting the Coastal Trails Coalition do this for Newbury, because Newbury is part of the Coastal Trails Coalition.
Yeah.
So it would just be, this group coming up with our comments, getting them.
And
Kind of introduce ourselves and put the
yeah,
comments
and
in
just
there.
put it on municipal letterhead and
Yeah.
say, we are in support of these things that have already been raised, and we're working together, and
So can I'm gonna make my first clerk request, which is,
Want me to forward
can we
that
get
to
a
you?
copy of that?
Yeah.
And does
You-
it need to,
You probably have it.
I
There's
do
a lot
have.
there.
I
But
do
as
have
the liaison,
yeah.
I'm happy to.
Okay, I could turn either way, I guess. Yeah. No, there's a lot in there.
That'd be
It's a
great.
machine in the making.
Move on the right direction.
Will do. I'll forward as many of those as that are up to date.
So it's okay for us to,
Yeah.
with open sharing of information?
Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as just to the group? Yep, good.
And do you have Mass DOT's response as well? Or
It's actually in
does-
this,
That-
it's part of the letter.
It's part of it?
Yeah,
Got it.
it's the 5 comments and their response.
And their response, perfect, yeah.
That-
Yeah, there were good things raised, like local things,
these are very
right? Like,
this is very
hey, there's a
detailed comments.
Byfield mini mart over
Exactly,
here.
Yeah.
you know?
bring
Right,
people to
exactly,
Byfield
yeah.
and then make them safe when they get there.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, I think one of the comments I had made was the leave room for a community garden on the stretch from Forest to Central, and I think they were very open to that, but I hate to see it like fall off. And I had commented the other day about the mini mart, that, you know, that would be, if there's gonna be a place for picnic tables, that would be the place for picnic tables.
Yeah. absolutely.
And whether we just talk mini mart into doing it, or
Right.
we put the area in.
Right, not everything we
And they s-
raise will be,
They did
A part
seem
of-
very reluctant, because I walked the path with the engineers, on a 97-degree day.
That was brutal.
Yeah. They were very reluctant on parking. And that's the beginning of my career in rail trails, was worried about parking. And I'm like, could you make the trail a little wider, you know, at the access points, and maybe we can get cars in. And then I thought about it, so it's probably dangerous, like how you get a bike going behind cars, and whether that's what they're trying to avoid. In my mind, just we ought to at least get someone to paint a couple of spaces. 'Cause
yeah.
I
And
think
this
people would
is
behave
a
themselves.
little bit of the, from my opinion, when the question of parking came up in the context of this segment,
Yeah,
and it's not in there yet, right? Like,
Right.
these designs don't show,
Right.
and I don't think it's their intent. And we should, when we ride Groveland, we ought to just see if they put parking. I don't think there's gonna be any parking there.
yeah. But that
Um,
to me triggered when we're looking at Byfield to Newburyport, because this really stops at Main Street.
Yes.
And we still have, you know, a triangle there of downtown Byfield,
Yeah.
where there are potentially other opportunities. So I do think we need to link, you know, keep the segments linked in our minds and make sure that questions that are important like that one.
Although
Get answered
I
somehow.
walked by the library the other day, and there were people with bike racks taking their bikes off, and I'm like, all right, well, that's,
Oh.
might just be signage then. Because that
Yeah.
would be a perfect,
Right.
very close to the highway.
Yep. I wonder where they were going.
I actually wound up chatting with the guy. He was,
Yeah.
from Danvers, he was going, essentially, he was going to the river. He was going to West Newbury, which we ride on bikes all the time.
Right. It's a lot of road biking.
And it's I'm very comfortable, you know, reason for using rail trail is cars, people texting, and the roads up there are quiet enough that it's not as much a concern.
Yeah.
But
So that's a great suggestion, I love that, of
Mm.
if this committee meets monthly, to have that also be an opportunity, reminder to get monthly updates from,
yeah,
Yeah.
from the project managers for that segment.
why don't I get in touch with you, and we can either send an email together, or that the committee's formed, and would it be possible to get,
Yep,
because I really don't know what the next step is.
yeah, where they are on this, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
but
just,
I-
is
yeah.
it just getting a contact point with the state? Is that that's what?
We
the-
have a project manager,
Okay. And so it's just communication with him? Is
Yeah.
that where-
Yeah.
But I think the regular communication back down to the committees,
Yeah.
yes.
because it keep us on
They're
track.
very responsive to us, but we're, I think, asking for like, can you give us a monthly update?
Yeah.
You know,
well,
just getting there, or whatever.
well,
We'll
even-
email you monthly and.
And
please
maybe
reply.
maybe it's framed in a, you know, our committee would like to reach out to you for updates. Does it
Yeah.
have to come through me, and just kind of
Yeah,
finagle our way into, can we ask you questions every once in a while? Because
Right.
I think Stantec might be even better from a timeline basis.
yeah. So I have, you know, I have a rough timeline, I have, you know, there have been a lot of discussions, but it is as people who've been project managers, like, it's helpful to have,
The big picture.
yeah, like a calendar, like,
And something like getting lines painted for parking spaces needs to fall in there somewhere, whether it's gotta go to the Merrimack Valley Parking Space Commission or whatever the planning board is for speed limits and all that. So that,
right.
I'm over my head on that too, but I look to you as a,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the work that's happening right now is bringing the 25% design plans up to 75%. So
Yeah.
all of that is still design and engineering. There, and then that will be a big milestone. And I believe the goal for that is next spring.
yeah.
And then the last 75% to 100 and construction comes next. That's like a very rough,
Mm.
and as you said, because we have construction money on the tip, we are working back to not lose that timeline. Good. So the other segment is, as you all know, there's an active RFQ, which is request for qualifications, different than a request for proposals. Usually bids that I've been involved with have a narrative and a financial bid, and the financial bid comes in a sealed envelope and there's a bid opening. That is not what this is. It's a RFQ. It's a very new kind of process to me. But the development of the document, the RFQ document, was, there were, I don't know, 8 or 10 authors of it, which I say to share that there are a lot of people very supportive and just willing to spend time to help the town with this work. So Mass DOT, a number of their different staff, the transportation planners at Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, Patrick Reed is the director of the transportation team there. He's been super supportive and helpful. And Coastal Trails Coalition, Rick Tainter basically provided some text for me and input, really helpful, and some other folks in Newburyport who've done a lot of the trail work there. And then finally, just to mention, it's Essex Heritage, like the Essex National Heritage Committee that holds quarterly meetings for the Board of Boston Trail. So Annie Harris is the director there, and the president of her board, and she has staff who support it too. So they convene, it's from Lynn to Salisbury. That's the sort of northern segment for this Essex County sort of region. And in those quarterly meetings, which I've attended, there's often a member of the trail committee in Georgetown, for instance. So that is certainly a meeting that I think it would be appropriate if, I don't think it's limited to anyone joining in. So if one or a couple of you are interested in attending those meetings, that would be another way to sort of understand what the other towns are doing and what's going on in Topsfield and the southern Georgetown segment, et cetera. It's interesting.
And that's specific to the rail trail. It's a meeting about
Border to Boston
Border to
Trail.
Boston through Essex County.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I think the next one is September, but I will check on the date. I won't look right now, but I will share that. So, Annie Harris and her team were instrumental in receiving the earmark, the federal earmark that our RFQ that Newbury received. It was initially, it was $1 million earmark through Senator Moulton's office, a federal appropriation, a couple years ago. I think it was awarded in 2022. So that earmark was split into 4 sub-projects in the Board of Boston region that I just explained, and Newbury received one of them, and it was initially intended to support this segment project when it was determined that they needed a boardwalk. So that was no longer necessary for that funding to go for that project, and it became known to us that we have funding to do something with. So that's sort of the background. I think I've spoken with most of you about that background, but that was really sort of revealed just this winter, and then we've spent the last few months kind of pulling this project together. So I think you've all taken a look at the RFQ. Bids, I shouldn't use the word bid, proposals and submissions are due on August, I should probably, Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you. Coming right up. Not this Friday. August 6th? August 6th, isn't it? Let me check. August 5th. Tuesday, August 5th.
11 a.m.
There you go.
Don't be late.
Right.
Maybe your internal deadline's Friday.
I'm actually not involved with the proposal myself, so I could be off. Oh, yeah, my notes, I was told it's due Friday, so
All
check
right.
on that.
So again, there's no, the deadline is 11 a.m. and this room is reserved for 11 a.m. So I will be in here looking at a pile of what's submitted and making notes of it. So I would offer if any of you are available and would like to attend that, but it's not necessary. Essentially, it's just receiving, noting what has come in, and then following that, we should schedule a meeting to review them as a committee. The proposal review will be a process, and then if the committee wants to, and I have not talked with the town administrator about this yet, and she's the procurement officer, so this may be modified, this process, but my understanding is we receive the proposals, we review them, and then determine whether, rank them according to the criteria, and determine if we need any additional information from any of the proposal submitters, and then ultimately make a recommendation, and the select board actually chooses the team, the proposer, and then there will need to be a scope of work contract coordinated administratively through the town administrator's office. All of that needs to be done by September 30th. So I think we're good with August 5th being the proposal deadline, but it will be, we'll have to keep on that work through August and September. That's a rough outline of what lies ahead. I think if there are any questions, happy to try to answer that.
August 5th happens to be a Tuesday. It was August 5th.
It's a Tuesday.
Next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
We want to meet that fast, or go the Tuesday after.
We could probably, I guess up to you. Would people be available on August 5th at
5th or the 12th.
5 p.m.?
Yeah. Maybe we should have agreement on, this worked for me, David was tight for you, but 5:30 be better?
It depends, I can make it, this is just, it was a weird thing.
Yeah, we can be,
I can do 5:30.
we can be
next
flexible on
Tuesday.
time. Sometimes the select board's in here on Tuesdays in particular, so
yeah.
staying, like, I'd have to check on their schedule in terms
You
of.
know where we're going if this is busy.
We can go somewhere
We'll
else.
get on the council on aging with their
Yeah.
snacks.
Exactly, yeah.
That's-
Yeah,
I like that idea.
absolutely.
Alright, so we're thinking the 5th?
Is there actionable things, or is there?
But
I think that would make sense. I'm
that
away the
would
following
certainly-
week,
That would you're,
so,
I'm not available that following week either.
well, no, great, because then it's done before you leave, and then we can go like in September.
take the
right?
next steps,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm in.
So when they come in at 11, you're gonna do
Well, they just
sorting,
have to
reviewing,
be,
account for
like,
what-
someone could walk in or,
Yeah.
you know, send their staff from Wakefield and drive down under the way, or they can mail them, they need to be received by then. So I don't think there'll be any, like, fireworks right at 11 or anything, but
That
you know,
afternoon, yeah.
we'll receive them, make a record of them, and then, we can review them live. I mean, you won't have, the alternative would be
Well, because
send them out and you all have time to like look them over and then
But if
we
you're gone
need to discuss.
and we gotta figure out what the selectmen meet in August? First, select board, I'm sorry.
So you're talking the 5th, right?
Yeah.
The 5th, Conservation Commission via Zoom, so this room's open
And
as
select
of
board.
now.
When's the next select board, can you tell?
It doesn't say. No, yeah, the 26th, so they might do the
Gets
12th and the
later.
26th.
Yeah,
We have a rec committee meeting, it's the 4th, so it'll be the next night, which is fine.
Get the council on aging, we can eat there.
let's have a meeting on the 5th and
Get
if
the
it's
gelato
just
truck.
kind of reviewing what's received and then, you know, reviewing the process and then,
I just symbolically, I like a little burst of energy, like
yeah,
if we get the thing and we've made a recommendation and voted on the recommendation, and then we're ready for the select board on the 26th, and you know, let's get it done in August instead of September.
keep it moving, yeah,
I like that.
I can do that.
Or is it-
Time? How does it work for everyone tonight? 5 o'clock, 5:30? What does,
I'm available 5:15 on, if you need to start at 5, I'll show up at 5:15.
is 5:30 bad for everyone, or does that work?
That works for me.
It's good.
I unfortunately have a conflict that night, so not available on the 5th.
Tuesday works for you because you guys work late on Tuesday, is that?
Yeah, I'm open
And the flip
to
side is we
other
go
times.
morning, I mean, we've met in the morning too before, like 8 o'clock. It would be the other thing to throw out, like any other day that week in the morning.
Yeah, that could work for me. I don't know how, I guess you're all, I don't know, are you all flexible? Depending?
I would only be able to do that Wednesday morning. Unless we,
But if that's all we're doing,
yeah,
Wednesday morning, the 6th?
yeah.
So what time?
I know.
go like 8 to 8:30, I mean, just actually just
I'm here by 8.
No,
sitting here with my big mouth and I'm not even looking at my calendar.
Although if everybody can meet the 5th, there's no reason why you couldn't go ahead, because I would have time after then to look at things
Do it on your own.
and see, yeah, just do it on my own. Although I
think we're gonna-
am available that next morning if we do meet.
Are we gonna try to select the, I mean, is that, the purpose of the meeting is to select the vendor to do the study, right? Or,
I honestly don't know if it's reasonable to imagine doing that
that's.
right away.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be good to just look at everything though, and then, because it might be hard for everyone to like absorb everything and then vote right there, because
Right.
then you could at least look at everything, think it over.
So it's like the evaluation criteria that's in the RFQ.
Mhm.
There's like 3 main sections. There's some scoring or classifying,
Right.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, that would be something
So,
we're,
It's sort of an
We do.
exercise of doing, yeah.
so should we push the meeting off to closer to the select board's meeting? So we have time to look this stuff over?
That might make sense, yeah. And you're going, how long are you going for without asking personal questions? A week?
A little more, 8 days, yeah. So,
I suppose we ought to make sure.
select
I
board-
mean, you also can meet without me,
Yes,
Yeah.
obviously.
takes all the fun out of it though. If they meet the 26th, the 19th.
I unfortunately, I am away the week of the 18th.
Vacation
Be
weeks.
afraid to raise your hand, it's summer.
Yeah.
But you
Let's meet on the 5th or 6th, and then we can make a plan. And I'll
Yeah.
have more information before then. At least right now, let's make a plan for meeting then. If for some reason I learn more about the review process and it doesn't make sense, we could push it out.
Well,
Does that sound good?
it's Tracy's RFQ, right? It's her decision based on your input, and I would assume you would take input from us, would be the way that chain of command would.
I think this committee makes a recommendation to the select board.
Okay, all right.
It's the chain of command.
You also
Yeah.
don't know how many proposers are going to
Good point.
submit. You could get 1, you could get 10, you
Right.
could get more.
Good
You've got
point.
resumes, projects, firm qualifications, and all that to review. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Good point.
So is it maybe not even realistic that we would get this done before the 26th?
It may not be, because as we do have the opportunity to ask, according to town council's recommendation to me, the committee could ask for finalists to present. You can ask people to come in and have a face-to-face or set up a Zoom, you know, if you want more information. That is allowed as part of the selection process. So 26 might be, considering August.
Yeah, I mean.
And,
sounds
you
like
know, 'cause
this
they're-
after
they're-
the
And
business.
they
People submitting also need to be available if we need more information. It can take a little bit of time.
is it fair to say the select board might also have questions that we need to then just, get a little more? info?
Possibly,
Yeah,
yes.
So we may need
Yeah.
a couple weeks there,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
well, then-
possible to have 2 sessions, have the Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning? People could go to both or either, because it's just a matter of looking through and taking notes, or do we all, I mean,
So I'm going a different direction now. Why don't we just come out of the 5th with some kind of summary? Like, if you
If
want
we
me to work,
met
if you want me to
earlier.
show up and just email out to everybody, this is what it looks like.
Yeah,
We're gonna need 4 weeks or,
On our own time to review and stuff.
well, yeah. 'Cause I've never done it.
we're
Yeah.
getting them electronically as well,
Yeah.
so they will be able
Yeah.
to be shared on Tuesday.
But, so I think my point is, I don't think we have to vote on the 5th, but somehow if we can get the information out of what we need to vote on would be just as good as meeting. Because I'm not sure there's anything else we'd be talking about in the
We
next
don't
30
need
days.
to vote on the 5th,
Right,
is that what you said?
right, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right,
So we don't need to meet.
yes. So we could look, few weeks out to
Right.
set a date, which could be hard, depending.
So to summarize, it sounds like we don't need to rush the meeting because we're gathering the information, get that sent out to everybody will be looking it over and reviewing it. It sounds like we could potentially have more information to review than would be doable before the 26th, so we're probably looking for, if we're gonna sit down and make a decision on this, we're probably talking about a select board meeting in early September. Is that,
That might be, that'd be good, you still got the calendar?
I do.
They might be back on a 2-week schedule by then.
Christie, could you go back to the, you'd said that the scope needed to be developed by September 1st,
30th,
30th?
yeah. Which has the possibility of being extended according to Mass DOT, but it's currently, because it's a federal appropriation, so it's on their federal fiscal year.
do we have the select board?
He's taking it like-
Select board's on the 23rd of September.
Oh, that's a cushy job.
That's what it looks like. Let me just check and see.
I'm pushing it too late. Yeah,
October,
we don't have much
It might be
choice.
by-
yeah, so in October they go back to 2
If
times
there's
the
an
most.
obstacle, then you gotta try to extend it.
Does that mean that you can ask for an extension, or they will just extend the date for everyone? That's what you're
I
looking
don't have, I don't know,
at?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I don't know yet.
Let's let the 5th happen. But it'd be nice to get a next meeting in the calendar, though.
So, we're not gonna meet on the 5th?
I like the idea of meeting on the 5th, just to get a general idea of
What came in and
what
see
came
it.
in, how many came, how thick are they, how, just to,
Okay,
Yes.
and I could come earlier, I just would have to leave by 6. So there could be sort of a floating arrival time.
so we do like a 4:30, is that bad for everyone?
That's fine.
I
would just
won't be
have-
here till 5:15,
5:15.
but if you
Oh,
play.
okay.
If we do
but
sort of a
I'm happy to
floating-
do what Sid's suggesting, where,
People come when they can, and there'll be an intersection.
We can discuss but not vote without a quorum, so all we need to be is everybody here at 5:30 or something. And I don't think we're gonna vote on anything now that I think about it.
yeah.
But we could summarize and
We
have a
could-
punch
yes,
list.
yeah.
and-
Let's do 5:15 to 6,
Okay,
Perfect.
and we'll look at what we got.
That's leadership.
I'll work on having more information about like process and review, and
Yeah.
maybe we can get some info on from Mass DOT about the
5:15 on the
timeline.
on
I'll
the
talk to
5th.
Tracy
On the
and
5th.
just get more information about
Good.
select board,
Let's look at
yeah,
that.
all of that. Okay.
Now, do we want to pick another meeting now, or do you want to do that on the 5th?
I'd say I don't think we wait.
Let's wait.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a week away. So.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, because maybe on the 5th, we'll be like, oh, we got one submission.
Exactly. It may not be. a
So
lot.
we can definitely get to the
Okay.
select board by the 26th.
So
or,
we'd love
yeah.
that too.
Yeah. At least one. I will say,
Next week, okay. Good.
I think I've been contacted directly by, people can get access to the RFQ through the state portal, or, we did a legal ad and all of the things. But I've probably had 10 or so firms contact me. In some cases, like I think Bowman was one, I feel like I've had a number of different people with Bowman email addresses, so presumably they're working together, but, and some of the firms have offices in different places, so I'm sure they're working together, but they might have contacted me separately. So I do think there's interest in it. I think there's a lot of support regionally, as we've heard. People are really excited about it. Newburyport is really excited and, interested in being a part of the process. So I think we've got these tasks ahead of us, and just eyes on the prize, because once we get going on this, I really think it's gonna be exciting for this next year to really work on outreach and public meetings and, you know, have experts working with us to move. It's gonna be tricky. There's a lot of tricky components of Byfield to Newburyport, but so much opportunity, and really good options, so I'm super excited about it.
Okay, good.
Any last comments, questions? We talked about next steps, we set a next meeting date. Any other questions? All we got left on here is adjourn.
I was gonna say move to adjourn.
Yeah, move to adjourn the meeting at 6:25, Tuesday, July 29th.
Second.
Second. All in favor? All right, done.